Welcome back. In this part of the lesson, we will be looking at application questions related to the circulatory system. Okay, in this part of the lesson, we will be basically using the knowledge that we know and applying it to different scenarios and statements. So here, it says, draw a table to show a comparison between the three blood vessels. We already know that we have three blood vessels, namely arteries, veins, and capillaries. So we have to mention how each blood vessel is adapted to perform its function. So whenever you draw a table, you also have to remember to give it a heading. So this is a table comparing three types of blood vessels. Like I mentioned previously, we will be focusing on arteries, veins, and capillaries. So we look at the structure of the wall to understand what the function of the artery is, and then lastly, to understand how the structure complements the function and basically how the blood vessel is suited to perform its function. So when we look at the structure of the wall of arteries, we know and we have seen that they are thick. Veins are thinner compared to, they are thin. They are thinner than the arteries, but the capillaries are thinner than the veins. So the arteries are the thickest blood vessels in the human body. The function of the arteries are to carry blood away from the heart. They transport oxygenated blood to the body. By now, we also do know that the pulmonary artery is the only artery in the human body that carries deoxygenated blood. The function of veins is to collect deoxygenated blood from the body. Here we know of an example of the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. And these carry the blood to the heart. And then lastly, we look at the function of capillaries. Looking at the structure, we know that they are thin and they facilitate the exchange of substances such as nutrients and oxygen. And remember, at the start of the lesson, we spoke about the importance of food and nutrition being an important part of the circulatory system, because that is what's going to help the body receive oxygenated blood. Now, the capillaries also help with the exchange of oxygen between the blood and the body cells. That is why they are thin. Okay, now we look at the structural adaptations, basically looking at the structure and the function of the artery. We know that arteries are thick, so they have thick walls to allow high pressured blood to flow. We saw with the aorta how the aorta has the task of carrying oxygenated blood to different parts of the body. 2, we have the veins. We know that they have thin walls, they have valves, and the function of valves, we know, is to prevent the backward flow of blood. And lastly, we have capillaries. We also know that they are the thinnest blood vessels. They also have thin walls, and these thin walls allow an exchange of gases, basically between the blood and the interstitial fluid, or the body cells. We are done with our application questions. We are going to take a short break and we will be back soon.